Welcome into Sports City Nation. Today is Monday, December 1st, and today Miles will catch us up on everything college football because, well, sports autism. Also, we won't tell you who's winning any more NFL games and why we don't know anything about the quarterback position because we're idiots.
Yeah, sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By these idiots, for you idiots. And, well, in the words of Chris Breezy, when a rich Cajun wants you and a rebel can't do nothing for you, well, this Kiffin ain't loyal.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. Welcome back, sinners. This is Season 2 of Sports Idiot Nation.
Wake up, it's the first of the month. Get up, get up, so get up, so get up. Welcome in. It is December 1st. It is Sports Idiot Nation, the show that comes to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It is I, Adam, along with Miles Behind Enemy Lines, and I'm excited because Miles can really break down all of the college foosball. A lot of stuff went down from going to be new faces and new places, some craziness. I want to get a breakdown of what you think, how everything's going to shake out. Like, you just have a better handle on that than I do, so I'm excited to talk through that. Let's start with I feel like when there's a game that is known as the game, like that you have to start there. The only problem is there was nothing sexy about it. There was a 10-yard punt that I was joking as I watched with the Zicos, who you know well. I joked, the whole place was laughing. There was like 12 people watching this game, one Ohio State fan, Sarah, and the rest were Michigan fans. And I said, I could have kneed the ball, like, with my knee, and it would have went more than 10 yards. And they started laughing. They're like, yeah, probably. Like, just
That
that tracks. That's how the game went. Were you surprised by anything that you saw, or deep down, is that kind of how you saw that going? Let's start there in Michigan.
It's clearly the law that Ohio State has to beat middle of the road Big Ten teams by 18 points. So you beat Illinois, Washington, and Michigan all by exactly 18 points now. Ohio State is flexing their muscle, and what's scariest about the Buckeyes is it feels like they do nothing. They go out there and they're very mundane. They go about their business. They do nothing spectacular. And it almost feels like this team isn't good. Wait a minute. They're on the road against a rival who's in the top 15 and they're up 3 scores. And it doesn't feel like it. That's what they do. We'll learn a lot this weekend. This is the best team they faced all year. I honestly believe Ohio State is the best team in the country, and that's fine. The Big Ten championship game, in a lot of ways, is almost like an exhibition because both teams are going to get a bye. Both teams are probably, win or lose, going to end up playing where they want to in the quarterfinal. And honestly, beyond the top 4, like number 5 through number 10 is really a flip of the coin. So who you face, it doesn't really matter. But obviously, this is for pride. This is for a Big Ten title. We get that. But back to the point of the game, Michigan didn't have it. They were overrated. We understand that. But I really thought being at home and seeing what happened last year, Michigan would be more confident. Now, obviously, there's a part 2 where you say, well, Ohio State wanted to avenge their loss last year. Well, they've been saying that for the last 4 years. So nothing told me any different going into the game. And nothing coming into this told me that Ohio State was better than last year. We don't know. We didn't know that because it's all been about Julian Sain with his 2 stud first-round pick receivers that are banged up but still going to go. We don't know anything about their running game with the other Bo Jackson as a freshman. Do they have that in the arsenal? They hadn't need to show it all year.
Does Bo know?
Other than he did know. And he has known for the last few weeks. And that's what frightens me, not just as an Indiana fan, but just a college football fan that hates Ohio State. Ohio State clearly shows they can run the football too when they need to, as they
Yeah.
did in the Snow Bowl. They're not going to have another crappy weather game the rest of the year, obviously. But if the air raid for whatever reason isn't working out, great. We'll hand the ball off, and he could go for $1 to $1.50, and we'll beat you that way. Their defense, I still don't believe is elite to the level people think it is, because again, Michigan, arguably the best team they face, whether it's them or Texas. Either way, neither team has a very consistent offense. So we'll see this weekend just how truly elite Ohio State's defense is. But if you're going to stand there and tell me anyone else besides Ohio State is the top front runner, again, coming from an IU guy, don't come in here with that, because until Indiana proves otherwise, Ohio State is the defending national champion who deserves to be ranked number 1 in the country.
Yeah. And we'll talk more later this week, because when everything kind of shakes out and more chips fall and different things, today's Monday and we have another show Friday to talk through it. I want to talk about then what you predict will shake out as far as everyone else. So where do you want to start?
Well, I guess we'll start with the Big Ten title, and we'll kind of reverse engineer it. Obviously, being an Indiana guy that has to stay humble, I'm going to say Ohio State wins the game, and that's totally fine. It again, really doesn't mean much, because both teams are going to get a bye. I think the worst thing for Indiana is that they drop all the way to 4th. And not that being number 4 is that bad, but it aligns them again with Oregon. I don't want to play Oregon again, even on a neutral field, even probably in the Orange Bowl, anywhere besides Pasadena. That game won't be in Pasadena, because if Ohio State were to win and Indiana had to take on Oregon in the quarterfinal, Ohio State will consume the Rose Bowl. Fine. I think what ends up happening is Texas Tech and I think Georgia take care of business. I think Georgia, by virtue of being the SEC champion with 1 loss, will be number 2. And I don't think Texas Tech will do enough to prove that they should bypass Indiana, whose only loss would be in the Big Ten title game. And I don't foresee Indiana getting shelled in this game. Indiana really does have too much talent to get blown out by anyone. We are far better than last year. And Ohio State, whether or not they're better than last year, again, really doesn't matter, because when you're comparing a national champion to a presumable national championship favorite, we're splitting hairs. Doesn't matter. So I think IU ends up number 3, and then Tech at number 4. Then down the line, I don't really see much changing otherwise. Alabama, even getting their 3rd loss, they're still in. Because if you want to ruin the concept of conference championships, go ahead and leave the SEC champion out. That's not going to happen. Texas, no, sorry, you don't belong. And all these people, again, saying that, well, Texas is getting punished for scheduling Ohio State. Well, they lost. Look, the reality is, if Texas scheduled a cupcake in lieu of that game, even at 10-2 with that win, you're still not getting him, because that loss at Florida is terrible. You got destroyed by Georgia, and it still matters to the committee that you played a terrible Mississippi State, semi-terrible Mississippi State, and a horrible Kentucky team who will finally have a new head coach next year. You play those teams to overtime. So I don't want to hear the argument about Texas. You have a few really good wins. That's cute and all. But at the end of the day, the SEC this year, it will change next year, but this year, the SEC still only plays 8 conference games. The Big Ten plays 9. So the only argument you have about Ohio State is, well, really, we just scheduled that 9th conference game. You still had 3 losses, and 2 of them, one of them a true bad loss. The other one looks bad from how you got blown off the field against your SEC either champion or runner-up in Georgia.
So I'm looking at the final standings of the SEC, and 4 teams were 7-1: Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Alabama. That was a perfect time for a sneeze. And so you're saying Texas, if they would have been 7-1, that's so I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, and if
Give it to me, Satan.
Well, I guess you're right. I mean, again, because you're going up against those four. I mean, Ole Miss, who was their loss to in the conference? They're 7-1.
Was Georgia.
Gosh, this was a
At
round robin.
Georgia, and that was a good game. Yeah.
Okay.
It was. They for the most part, all be sure because Georgia's only loss was at home against Bama, and they'll see them again.
Gosh.
That's where things can get crazy if Bama wins that. Not that both Georgia and Bama are going to be in the playoff, but the seeding gets crazy
Now,
once we get there.
wait a minute. Okay, here's my devil's advocate. We're saying if Texas. No, because the Florida, they would have had to beat Florida. There's just no way around
Yeah,
it.
you beat
Because
Florida,
then they
you beat Florida, and you're fine.
right, and because then they beat Texas
But
A&M.
boys and girls, you didn't do it. Yeah, they didn't do it.
Right,
And now
right.
you're screwed. You're screwed. It's like, well, wait, like this is playing the whole chess game. Like, well, you didn't
Yeah,
put me into check. No, you still lost to Florida. You're into check.
yeah.
It,
All right,
and that's that. I mean, you want to talk the real chaos, then we can touch on the fourth and final Power Four. If you want to call them Power Four, it's really Power Three this year. How about the Dukies, baby? The opportunity to throw complete and utter chaos into this. And really, it's not even chaos because if Duke wins, the ACC is just flat out. Because I don't see the committee at this point pulling a 180 and finally allowing Miami into the conversation again because they're still, well, I don't care that they beat Pitt by 31. Notre Dame did that too. They blew out Pitt on the road as well. So I don't see how the argument for Miami changes to get them close enough in that same pod, so to speak, as Notre Dame to leap them due to that head-to-head. So I think Miami's screwed. And Virginia has the path right now. If they take care of business against Duke, they're obviously in. If they don't, well, that Tulane North Texas winner and JMU, if they win, are in. But I think the real chaos that people aren't even talking about is if JMU loses their conference champion, that Sun Belt championship, and then Duke also wins, who's going to be the conference champion that you let in? Because suddenly you have to have the Tulane North Texas winner. That's fine. That winner's going to be in no matter what happens in any other conference championship game. Either North Texas or Tulane are going to be in. But suddenly the Mountain West might be back in the conversation if Duke wins and JMU loses. That's going to be the chaos, is the group of six and / ACC. That could be our true biggest what the hell is going on moment.
So, okay, I'm looking. I want to go back to Miami. They lost to 2 8-4 teams. So I wouldn't classify them as bad losses. What do you say to someone, to a Miami fan, who says, "Okay, explain this to me like I'm 5, because I don't understand how we're out when we lost. We have 2 losses. Okay, to 2." The teams that we lost to aren't ones that you'd say, nah, that's a bad loss. We're ranked 12th. Like, I know the rankings don't, but we're ranked 12th.
It's the top.
We beat
It's
Notre
at
Dame.
this point. It's the top 10. To be an at-large, you need to be in the top 10, kind of like last year.
So, what do you tell someone that's a Miami fan?
The reality is it comes down to the body of work. You can't just silo one game. And I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with it. You told me to give the argument to them, explain it to them. So this is how I have to explain it to them.
Yeah.
You can't just take week 1. You have to take all 12 of your football games. And the reality is Louisville fell off. I mean, they ended the year with a blowout against Kentucky, something Texas couldn't do, but we're not just looking at that one game. Louisville fell off. You lost that game at home. Notre Dame lost a home game as well, but it was by 1 point to a team that's clearly in the playoff in Texas A&M. And then, well, sorry, Miami, you get punished for being good because you just gave Notre Dame a good road loss. And how do you say that? If we would have sucked, then Notre Dame wouldn't have had a good loss. Well, if you sucked, you wouldn't even been in the conversation at all. So it's the entire resume that you have to look at. And the reality is SMU just screwed you. Absolutely screwed you by blowing it against Cal. They had the comeback, took the lead, and then blew the lead
It's a bad
at
loss
the end.
to-
Now, if SMU
so that is your
wins
bad
that
loss.
game, SMU, yes, it is. SMU's in the conference championship game. They win that game over Virginia. SMU automatic berth, and then you probably put Miami back in over Notre Dame. But that's reality. Don't lose to teams that are subpar and put yourself in peril. And that's the way the committee's going to look at it. Because again, the head-to-head matters, but it is not number one in how they decipher who is in. It's your overall body of work. And they're proving time and time again that the committee looks at losses almost as much as they look at wins.
So we will go over these matchups a little bit more in depth, but in case you didn't have a chance to check it out, as it is Monday morning, here is the breakdown. BYU, Texas Tech is the Big 12. That is at noon Eastern. Georgia, Alabama,
If
that is
BYU,
at,
if
I mean,
BYU pulls that off, man, then it gets weird.
yeah. Georgia, Alabama is the SEC at 4 Eastern. Indiana, Ohio State for the Big 10 in Indianapolis. I shall be there. 8 p.m. Eastern, and Virginia and Duke in the ACC championship, as we talked about, also at the same time, 8 Eastern. We will get into those games more. Those are just the matchups. Just wanted to announce those in case you didn't get to see it. I want to shift not up to the NFL, but down to high school. Give you a bragging moment. Tell us why.
So my alma mater has made national news for what they pulled with about 9 minutes to go against the team they lost in week 1, 3-0. Week 1, you lose 3-0 in Indianapolis against Roncalli. Get the rematch for the state title game. And honestly, going into it, I thought Bishop Dwenger would lose. And I thought they would lose by like a few scores, to be quite frank. I thought Roncalli got together and just a better team. They were essentially playing a home game at Lucas Oil. But it was back and forth, and I think there were 8 lead changes in that game. Game tied at 29, so things got awkward. How we got to 29 points, and then it was like 9.5 minutes or whatever left, and Dwenger, with an amazing kicker who will be a Division I kicker, lines up for a 53-yarder. And when you hear in high school 53-yarder, well, something's off here. Well, when you know that kicker,
It was really off.
You think Dwayer's really going for this kick. It's a gamble because he misses it, which he's probably got an 80% chance to miss this. Then your opponent's in good field position, going
Correct.
the other way with a couple possessions left to take the lead. Well, Dwenger proceeds to snap the ball straight to the kicker, rolls out, about to run it, dumps it off, caught, breaks 2 tackles into the end zone for a touchdown. Absolute mayhem. You can go YouTube it. I mean, it is all over right now. You can also go to the IHSAA TV Facebook page. It's got like 350,000 views. I saw earlier today. It's probably over 500,000 at this point. Now being Monday, that was Sunday. It was ticking up, but it was an awesome play. And going back to my sister's freshman year in high school, way back in 2002, the 2 teams met for a state title. Dwenger had a 10-point lead with like 3 minutes to go and choked it. Well, this was avenged a quarter century later, but damn it, they did it. Thanks, Dad, for that one. Bishop Dwenger gets to Jordan their 6-1, but not often we'll touch on high school football. But when it makes national media for what happened on the fake field goal to win a state title and then pick it off in the end zone as time expires.
That's big. Because what you talked about was 9 minutes in the game. So I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah, there's
what
a lot
about
of
the
football
rest
left.
of the 9 minutes? Well, last play of the game, they're ready to score a touchdown, and then nope, it's intercepted. And
in the end zone.
My Lord, what a way to win a state title, or in any whether it's college football to win the game or to win the Super Bowl. I mean, Santonio Holmes or whatever these guys, and it's like you make the interception to save the game and you win. Like you can't. I want to see who this kid ends up marrying, like Miss USA, like who, like that story. Well, I did intercept the pass. Like what,
Well, and the the guy who tipped the ball that led to that interception is be like, but I called dibs on her. The girl don't know that I was the one who got the stat for the
I
pick
call
and sealed it.
tips on her.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah.
I see what you did.
So
That's
that
it's
is,
fantastic.
yeah, it's pretty
And
amazing.
and
You and I had a
one
chance
other
to go.
tidbit. Yeah, one other tidbit. These two teams do meet week 1 again next season.
Oh, jeez.
So
Okay.
you think you want to add
Well,
anything
and
else
those
to it?
are different. I mean, obviously the seniors
Yeah, but
won't
the
be there, and
underclassmen,
yeah,
sure. But
yeah,
there's 3 other classes that played in the game and remember it for
yeah,
sure.
for sure. No, that'll be good. I was saying you and I had a chance to catch a couple games at State before at Lucas Oil, and it was just a fun experience to see a high school championship, whether football, basketball, you name it, and to see, you're at the NFL stadium, whatever it is. If it's your state of Indiana, obviously it's the Colts Stadium, Lucas Oil. To see that. I got to see my alma mater, where I played a couple years, won a state championship. I saw that with you, and a Zico
So
or two, I
one
think,
good
too, right?
year in school history.
Yeah. So
Damn it, they made it count.
they
They kicked
did.
ass.
They
They
did.
were good.
And
They were good.
we coached at least one of those kids on that roster before at another school.
Hate us so much he transferred.
Oh man. So yeah, that was a fun weekend for sure. Always that Saturday and Friday after Thanksgiving we know is going to be the epic, you know, Ohio State, Michigan, UCLA, USC, high school football champions, all that's always good. So let's get back into college, and it's time to stay in our lane, if you will. A Kiffin. Now, this we
God bless you.
they try to build it up like, oh, is he gonna stay? No, he's not gonna stay. You're not gonna stay at Ole Miss versus a Alabama, Auburn, LSU.
Florida.
Yep, Florida, I'd say. I mean,
Once
right?
say Tennessee, but he already left there, so in the middle of the night.
So out of those four, if you're coaching somewhere in the SEC and one of those four come up, what are we talking about? Like, get out of here. Like, I heard the argument of like, well, Les Miles, Nick Saban, Ed Ogeron, these guys, Lane Kiffin, if all he does is win one, he's just one of those guys, like no big deal. But if he wins at Ole Miss, he's Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss. And like that is, and look how good you are already. You have a chance, just keep building. But I can see that argument, but it's still less than 50%. I still give the edge to the resources. Just it's LSU, dude. Like I just think it's funny the way that it was played out. What did you think?
Well, that's funny you mentioned that at the end about he's Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss if he wins it. That was the whole thing about Kirk Cignetti at IU. Well, why wouldn't he take a Penn State job or something like that? It's like, well, at Penn State, that's Joe Paterno's school. Sig would be, well, he's that other coach from Penn State. Whereas at Indiana, he'll be the balls forever. Doesn't even need to win national title at IU, frankly.
Lee
Frankly,
Corso, he'll take
years
his
old.
reins.
Well, no, Bill Mallory. Lee Corso's like 5th or 6th down the reign. He's just famous for being on game day. Neither here nor there now. But back to Lane Kiffin. I don't have an issue with him going to LSU because of everything you mentioned. The issue is the timing. This is absolutely absurd, and it's very childish and proves them hoes ain't loyal. That guy that got the business from Lane after within 24 hours, everyone's back on his side now.
Yeah.
First thing, you can't make a wife out of or you can't make a housewife out of a hoe, whatever it is. I'm not good with the kitty.
You can't make a hoe a housewife.
yeah, right. Yeah, whatever it might be. But in any case, I really liked what Bill Cowher, they're talking about on the NFL today on CBS about the NCAA has no guardrails for players or coaches. With
It's the
coaches, I
wild,
get it's
wild
a little
west.
bit different.
We've talked
It
about
is,
that.
but the NCAA has done a whole 180 and a damn near a full 360 at this point because they're turned inside out completely. I despise how this went down. The fact that these Ole Miss players are going to get robbed and the audacity to ask to coach the team the rest of the year. Hell no, I'm not going to allow you get closer with these players for the next month and convince them to come to LSU with you.
Well,
That's and it still might happen anyways. That's fine. Ole Miss did the
yeah.
right thing, making their defensive coordinator the permanent coach, not just interim, but that quick making the permanent, give them not only a little stability, but also try to woo these players, saying, "Hey, this is going to be your coach.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
him
yeah.
already.
Yes.
Just we're going to be all right." We'll see how this affects them come playoff time. Another reason I wouldn't mind Indiana possibly losing if they fall the 3 seed and Ole Miss ends up being 6. I would love to face Ole Miss in the quarterfinals right now. And also, we lost to them in a bowl game COVID year.
Pretty
So,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not that any of those players are here, but, well, actually, Lewis still might be there around, but he's been in college football for 18 years like some other guys. In any case, Ole Miss, you got screwed. And dude, if you go ahead, have you seen the footage yet of Lane getting on the plane and the Ole Miss?
No.
Oh my goodness. It is everything you want and more and everything you'd expect and then some. It is fabuloso watching the Ole Miss fans let him depart on the plane and giving him everything. I'm surprised he didn't get shot at, to be quite frank. I mean, this day and age, he's lucky to be alive. But Lane Kiffin, when it comes to plane rides, this one he had the audacity to do in the middle of the day. He's like, I don't have to hide in the middle of the night. I'm Lane Kiffin now. I'm going to LSU. I'm going to do it right in front of their faces. And I think a lot of it's BS. Again, the fact that you're doing it before the playoff and then you let this play out. He knew full well, as you said, if he was staying at Ole Miss, we would have known that weeks ago. The fact that he waited to see the outcome of the Alabama Auburn game. That's why I went late in the night, waited to the next day, because if Auburn won that game, which they damn near almost did, Ole Miss is suddenly an SEC championship game. And not that he was going to stay at Ole Miss, but I think he delays it even further.
Right,
And
right.
to that effect,
That's what I'm thinking too, yeah.
if the coach are going to leave, that's fine. There needs to be something put in place. I know it's very vague, but there needs to be something done. We got to do something, as Aldous Snow said, we got to do something to force these coaches and these institutions to not tamper with coaches that are actively coaching, just like with the players. You cannot tamper with the players while they're in season. I think we need to do the same thing with these coaches. Whether it's you can't make an official hire or can't even talk to them until there's like a moratorium between the season and the playoff or bowl game.
A 2-week period.
There has to be a change, because this is not good for the sport of college football. What just went down? It's really not. It's quite embarrassing. It is the SEC after all, so it kind of figures. But I do believe Ole Miss missed an opportunity to do the funniest thing ever and hire Brian Kelly as their head coach.
And then I'd love to find out what his accent would be. Dialect
A little
coach.
less muddy.
Yeah,
less muddy.
Yeah.
It's it's a Memphis accent.
Memphis it up a little bit. So this is so fascinating. We're still in the throes of it. Like, it's still within that 24-hour period. So I want to see some of the stuff that comes over the next few days. I kind of want to stay up on it and see what happens. Let's shift to little brother, as Michigan calls Michigan State, because, dude, I don't know how long you're going to be able to call them little brother, because they got a hell of a coach.
He did, and I think the way he was treated at Northwestern is beyond absurd. And I actually made a comment to one of my IU buddies who was an undergrad at Michigan, so big brother, and I put in a comment, I was like, man, watch out, Michigan State's about to go 6-6. And he took it as, man, Pat Fitzgerald's a good coach though. And I go, I know that. Michigan State is in such bad shape right now that going 6-6 next year is impressive. Just making a bowl game. Now, Michigan State actually started playing playing a lot better towards the end of the season. They had that choke against Iowa, and then this Saturday they kicked I believe Maryland's ass. In any case, they are going to, I don't know, be all the way back how they were with D'Antonio, and then obviously making the playoff. God, it's been 10 years now, but Michigan State was always a 10-11 win team, Big
Oh,
Ten contender, so on and so forth. And that's what I remember when I was at IU is, well, Michigan State, there's an L. Yeah, and not just because we're so bad, but Michigan State was a top-tier team in the Big
was
Ten.
that
Pat
D'Antoni or
Fitzgerald,
who was Michigan State's?
D'Antonio, blah, blah, blah.
D'Antonio,
I always
yeah,
say
yeah.
D'Antonio. Yeah. In any case, was post Nick Saban, obviously. People forget Nick Saban was that coach at Michigan State. Plaxico Burress, baby. Any case, Michigan State is going to make noise, and they're going to make noise very soon. Gone are the days now of Michigan State being an easy dub for the last few years. They are, I think, bowl eligible next year. I think within 2 years they're going to be 9, maybe a 10-win team even. And by 2027, if not at the very latest 2028, they're going to be a playoff contender. I have that much faith in Fitz. Dude can flat out coach. What he did with Northwestern was ungodly.
Yeah,
In Northwestern in the past, like in the 90s, obviously you had that 95 season where Northwestern they were awesome. That Northwestern team in 95 was fantastic. But then you fall off again. Pat Fitzgerald, the fact that it would seem like every other year Northwestern was a 9-10 win team is insane.
unbelievable. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
completely
unreal.
like he crawled so Clark Lee at Vanderbilt could run now. Pat Fitzgerald will make Michigan State a winner. If you're Arkansas, you missed. You absolutely missed. They obviously interviewed him, had a chance to get him. I think Arkansas should have made that happen. But Pat Fitz is obviously he's a Big Ten guy, and I think for him he's in a better situation for himself. Get that cold weather, he can have that ground and pound team, a nasty defense. Michigan State will fit that mold, and Michigan, Indiana, Ohio State, Penn State. Well, I was going to say Wisconsin. Wisconsin's gone. Your coastal Pac-12 teams that are now in the Big Ten. You got another problem on your hands among you 25 Big Ten teams.
Yeah, you're 39. All right, we'll get you out of here for the college football talk with this one. Who else jumped out to you, coach or team, that made a splash in a positive way? Well, could be a negative way, but I'm thinking who made the splash in a positive way that jumped out to you, where you're like, okay, that raised your eyebrows.
In terms of hiring a new coach, or are you talking
Yeah.
this last week? Man, that's hard to say because I feel like Auburn had an opportunity to make a splash higher. I just South Florida clunked down the stretch, so I don't know about that. I feel like Florida, the meme where the guy opens the Christmas gift and he's wearing like the plaid shirt and then he holds the same exact one next to it. That's what they did with their hire. They got Napier 2.0,
Yeah.
but everyone's trying to get the next Sig, and it's like you've already tried that. Signetti is Signetti. You can't do like this whole Sean McVay. He wins the Super Bowl with the Rams. Now let's hire a 32-year-old white guy who's 5'7" and weighs 160 pounds. They're not all the same person. Sorry, it's not going to work. God, it's really hard to think of anyone else who I'm like, man, that's a hell of a hire right there, and it's going to turn things around. We'll see what happens with Kentucky. I think they held on to Stoops way too long. They were looking back. Well, the guy won 10 games twice here at Kentucky. You're too far gone. You more lucked into those seasons than anything else. He couldn't string those together in back-to-back years. They were, I think, 3-4 years apart, 2018, 2021, I believe. Kentucky's they've got to pull something out strong. I mean, do they look even at someone like Brian Kelly, which Brian Kelly did for Kentucky? Like that would be a very solid hire. I don't know if they want to touch that because it even feels toxic, even though there aren't sanctions around it or anything of that nature. they have the opportunity. But at the end of the day, I know it's old hat, but Virginia Tech is going to be a serious problem in the ACC, and we've already touched on that. But I think of this cycle so far, it's the easiest hire. James Franklin knows that area of the country now, having been at Penn State. God, I can't believe it's been almost 12 years that he was at Penn State.
Yeah.
But Virginia Tech, you've got your Beamer 2.0, and Frank Beamer did incredible things. There'll never be another one like him, but he never won a national title. He got there with Michael Vick before losing to Florida State back in that Sugar Bowl in after the '99 season. But
Yeah.
I think Virginia Tech's going to be in very good shape. They have an opportunity to win the ACC next year. They could do the Indiana and flip from 3 wins to winning a lower conference. Not that Indiana's won a Big Ten title, but the ACC. I mean, Indiana could clean up in the ACC. Let's be real. But that is the best hire. Lane Kiffin, sure, it's a good hire, but so much controversy around it. Like the dude's a distraction. Is the reality there? I'm really curious to see the direction that Kentucky goes. I shouldn't care about Kentucky at all. But it's being an SEC school, attention must be paid.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. A lot of different faces in new places and some drama to go along with it. I want to shift to the NFL. Before I do, I want to remind you to click the link in the description for our shirts and gear and other fun stuff with Sports Idiot Nation. Remember all of our Cineverse. We have the Turtles Idiot Nation, What the Puck, Gridiron, Hoops, film, you name it. Wrestling, we have a little bit of everything, so be sure to check us out on social media, wherever you get your social media. So, going to the NFL now. So, what was interesting to me, I guess, we'll start in Indianapolis. I can't really decide. Over the last month, we kept saying over and over and over, the Colts, are they like, okay, we're admitting that they're good, but now how good? And now we keep asking that, and all they do is keep losing football games. So whether they're at home, Albuquerque, it doesn't matter where they're playing. Like, they just keep losing. And so now I'm like, I get now there's an aspect with Daniel Jones hurt, because there was the 3rd and 4th down plays that they had a chance, and then they turned it over at the end to Houston, where it was an exciting game as far as a football game. But where are we at with the Colts?
I'm not saying that the Colts are going to lose out and have a losing record, but the Colts might lose out and have a losing record. You see their schedule the rest of the way.
All right, so
You
we're
have
gonna
the Jagoffs twice. I'm just going to tell you right now. You have the Jagoffs twice, starting at Jacksonville next week. You're at Seattle. You got your Niners in Indy, and
Monday
then
Night
they go to
Football.
Houston.
I will be in attendance.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, their schedule the rest of the way for anyone. That schedule
It's
is
bad.
murderous.
It's bad. It's at
I
Houston.
think that's they were showing a graphic about the Bears, who we'll talk about later. I think have the second hardest schedule the rest of the way. Number one's Indy.
Yeah.
That schedule, I don't care. You're 100% healthy. I don't want to play that schedule.
Yeah. You mentioned, Jacksonville twice, at Seattle. I don't want to play at Seattle. They're in their, we've already beat them
And you
in
know
Seattle.
them.
Yeah, and I know them.
You don't want to have to do it again.
No, we luckily play them at home. We beat them on the road in week 1 without the injuries. I mean, we lost Kittle in that game, but so yeah, you're right. To go at Seattle, who is actually absolutely dealing right now, Jacksonville twice, which quietly, forget Houston, Jacksonville is established now as well, which is wild.
They're hot.
So yeah,
They're hot
so
and they're
you
playing well.
have yeah. Yikes. So with their ankle bracelets, shout out 201 Titans Idiot Nation. So Jacksonville twice, at Seattle, Monday Night Football. You know the 49ers are going to be ready for Monday Night Football. They play so many Monday Night Football games because They get a lot of primetime games. The 49ers just do. So they'll be ready. And then at Houston to end, and they already beat you. I mean, at your in your backyard. So Zoiks is for sure. It's funny to think like that the Colts could end up 8-9, and then you would be like, well, yeah, that's kind of what we predicted, except they were like, what, 6-0 or something? They were like, wait, what?
Yeah, 8-2 at one point. I'll tell you this: if the Colts find a way to gut it out and win that division, just go ahead and put them in the AFC Championship game now,
Yeah.
because that again, it's not really anything against the Colts that I'm saying they have a chance to go 0-5. It's your schedule's nuts. Absolutely absurd. And there's a point to it, because earlier in the year you had a more favorable schedule. But anyone who starts 8-2, I don't care if you're playing a team closer to the Titans and Jets every week. It's still the NFL. You still have to go out and win week over week. You still got that win over Denver, which was a good win, albeit controversial. But now the
Right.
wheels starting to fall off. The injuries are piling up. Sauce Gardner, who knows what his status is going to be going forward. That hurt leg injury from all accounts. That's going to be hard for a corner to come back from. And then you have 3 division games against the 2 competent teams that could both make the playoffs
They're like,
now.
why
And
can't we play Tennessee
then you have to play that. So yeah, right. Well, you already done did that. That's
Yeah.
already been expunged. That's what helped you get to
That's
8
how
wins.
you're.
Let's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
forget
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. Colts are a good team. You're having a hell of a year, and even if the wheels fall off, it's like you're ahead of schedule. You know what you have, but this season's not over. Like if you are worthy to be a contender as you thought you were a couple weeks ago, you got to go out and have a winning record the rest of the way. You got to win 3 of these last 5 games. You win 3 of these last 5 games, you are well in. You probably end up winning the division at the end of the day, because the Jags they'll find a way to screw up. Let's be real. The Jagoffs are still the Jagoffs. They're playing well now. You split with them. You take care of Houston on the road, and maybe even split with the NFC West teams, and you'll be all right. You'll be all right.
So we have to jump backwards a little bit, because the game was played after we went on Friday. We had our last episode, and we joked about it in the group text. The Chicago Bears, you were asking a quick question about, wait, so what are the standings like even right now? And I looked at it and laughed to myself, sent you a screenshot, and then you chuckled. So and I talked to a few Bears fans, and they're like, yep, it's our once a decade time where like all of a sudden we're good, and then next year
Chicago Bear out of nowhere. They'll
we'll
suck
like
again.
get Trubisky, or they'll do something weird, and then they'll fire their coach who made the playoffs. And then now I will say there's no way they are letting the shirtless Ben Johnson go anywhere. So hey, keep your shirt on. You ain't going anywhere, Ben.
He's not going to LSU. We know that. That's been taken. Seats taken.
Yeah. You can't sit here. But man, I just think, because dude, we have to play the Bears soon. The Niners play the Bears, and I'm looking ahead at our schedule. It's like, okay, the Colts, we just talked about them. Like, obviously, they're tough enough. It's at their place. We have to travel. So, okay, them. Then you got the Bears. You got the Seahawks. Our schedule. Remember, we talked about this at the beginning of the season. The Niners had the easiest schedule, and it's like, whoops. Well, actually, the Panthers, like these games that were looked at as, oh, okay, these are good wins now that we have under our belt. And it's like, with all the injuries, but let's finish up with the Bears. Caleb Williams, I mean, he's starting, will you say, because we talked about Bo Nix over Caleb Williams. I'm not saying that the tide has completely shifted, because the Broncos are looked at as a good team. I know that they should not have played with their food, you might say, with Marcus Mariota. But overall, the Denver Broncos, we'll talk about them in a little bit. But are you changing, or what are you saying now about Caleb Williams? I'm curious.
I'm saying the team that he quarterbacks will go to the Super Bowl next year. So, yes, I am changing my tune on him big time. Give them one more year under Ben Johnson. Man, dude, Caleb Williams is far from perfect. I mean, he can be an absolute train wreck. That those wheels can get off the rails real quick. But damn it, he
So can
has the
Jalen Hurts.
talent, and
So
he
can
has,
Jalen Hurts.
yeah,
And if
and
he
he
can
won a
get it,
Super
and
Bowl
yeah, that's what. Because I
and
was like,
lost
I
one
was
too.
about to call you out and say, "Oh, come on," and then I was like, "Oops." I'm like, hold
Right.
on.
The dude's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one of them. You're gonna stand there and tell me that Caleb Williams can't do it too with the weapons he has around him and now the coaching staff he has. And now that division is still decent, but Packers and Lions showing that they can be vulnerable as well. I don't know that the Bears win the division this year. They absolutely are making the postseason. They absolutely have
Well,
opportunity to win a game. Hey, Green Bay can still figure out a way to win the North. But in any case, I think the Bears, as we talk about, Adam, you're the one who always brings this up, and it's very right of you to do so. The Bears haven't been through it. I think this season in the postseason, they go through it.
right,
They
and
learn a thing or
then,
two because they'll be able to see a thing or two.
mhm.
And the Bears, absolutely 1 year away, man. Anything can happen: injuries, free agency, trades, drafts, yet da 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 da. But the Bears, right now, from all accounts, with the roster they should bring back and add to for this next season, Chicago's my front runner to win the NFC next year.
So the Bears' schedule, they have the Packers twice. They have the Fighting Myles Garretts, and then they have at San Francisco. They have to travel, and then they finish with the Lions. That is not an easy schedule. So
No, it's not.
they are
Second hardest
yeah,
behind the Colts.
which you said, yeah. So they are 9-3 with a chance to lose 4 games, and it won't be, you wouldn't make fun of them for losing 4 of those remaining games. And so, boy,
It's still a 10-win Chicago season.
no, for
And
sure. For sure.
and we said, they're still the Bears. They'll still go 6-11 this year. I said that. And that ain't true because the Bears are a certified good football team.
Yeah.
You have your bad losses here and there. I shouldn't have lost to Baltimore. Again, it's the NFL. Anyone loses any given week. We understand that. But the Bears showed that I think they're here to stay. And it might only be a 2-3 year window, kind of like how Detroit had it. But they might be that next team up. You pluck a guy from Detroit who showed how vital he was in the little D. Damn it, I can't believe it, but Caleb Williams, you made a believer out of me. Similar to Drake May, man. We might have, in a couple years, a rematch of Super Bowl 20. We might see New England against the Bears. And
Because they have to go
also
through it as
coming
well.
up, yeah, coming up, man, we are just a few weeks away from January 26, 2026, 40 years after the Bears won the Super Bowl. And just about a year short of possibly
Oh,
the
I'm just
Bears
having a
going
heart
back.
attack.
Yeah. How many does that make for you? Baker's
Oh,
dozen? Oh,
Baker's
well,
dozen.
that's
Oh,
something to
yeah.
shoot for. Yeah, just
Something
6.
to shoot for.
That's
Yeah.
something to shoot
Something to shoot
for.
for. Yeah. George went in his full went. All right.
Right.
So the other thing I was thinking through, you talked about having gone through it, and you're right. But I think you talk about smash mouth football from the old days. Here's 2 stats that I think is big for the Bears. One, they are top 10 defense of getting off the field on 3rd down. Offensively, no team on earth runs the ball better. They are first. So now, what are we talking about? They get off the field, they give it to their running back, and they run that clock. Well, what are we doing? That is very, very tough to beat, and I don't think that that's by mistake. I think that was something that they wrote on the bulletin board when Ben Johnson first got there, is we want to keep other teams off the field. We're trying to figure things out. We're not the best team out there, but if we can keep them off the field, then they ain't going to score as many points. And literally you do that by getting off the field on 3rd down, and you're the number 1 rushing team. And it's like, okay, Caleb Williams can work with that because he gives you 8 to 10 plays per game where you're like, boy, that all right, the Bears have their quarterback. And here's the thing, they're not 40-yard Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill a la a few years ago. It's not that. It's 3rd and 7 and he gets an 8-yard pass and he just gets it over the linebacker. The guy makes a play, boom, first down, whatever it is, or he runs for a first down 4-yard gain. It's little things like that. It's not your 80-yard bombs. He's not the best thrower of the football. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's shift to Pittsburgh, where Tomlin's getting booed, and he said in the press conference, well, he understands. Like, he took the, like, okay, cool. But
Took
that was the
ownership.
game. Yeah, that was the game that we had written down as like, okay, as a NFL game, that's something that we're excited to see. And then it ended up being a laugher. So I don't think of Josh Allen as a better touchdown scorer on the ground than Cam Newton. But I guess for now I have to. That's the way it goes.
I'll say this, when I saw that stat that he surpassed him with his 76 touchdown to be number 1 QB rushing touchdowns all time, I was like, where's Michael Vick in this conversation? Because he had longevity and, well, obviously he ran the ball pretty dang good.
Well,
I would have thought, if you would have
longevity,
asked me without knowing that stat,
kind of.
well, he was only out a couple years. I mean,
Well, yeah, but think of how many touchdowns he could have had in
I
those
know.
years.
That is true. But even beyond that, I still would have thought Michael Vick would have been like close to 100. I don't know. The man's still running the ball for all I know, running other things. Hopefully not anymore.
Yeah.
I digress. But I was very surprised because I still feel Josh Allen's got plenty left in the tank. He's going to shatter this record. I had quite frankly no idea that he was well above Michael Vick and now in the wheelhouse of a Cam Newton and now passing him yesterday. Josh Allen, you got to figure a way to win the playoffs. You're going to win the playoffs. First of all, you better get there this year, and I think they will now inevitably get there. But suddenly now, Adam, I was going to ask, because you're talking about the Steelers, who's going to win the AFC North when it's all said and done? No. Who's going to win the AFC? Who the hell is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this year?
So you look at Kansas City has a very, very tough road. We talked about if they lose to Dallas that they need help now, that they need help. They officially need help. They can't just control their own destiny. And you look at Baltimore is surging as they become more healthy. But even
they got their
when
ass
they were
handed this week.
Yeah.
They got their ass handed to them. And that's the thing. You better think your lucky stars, AFC, that Joe Burrow's been out the year, because honest to God, right now, I think the Bengals are the best team in the AFC, and they probably aren't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Here's the sickest thing ever. Again, similar to what I said earlier about the Colts. I don't think they're going to lose out, but it's very plausible. It's plausible that the Bengals were 3-8. And if Joe Burrow actually stays healthy, it's plausible the Bengals win the division. If you get the Bengals a home game in the first round, only God knows what Cincy can do in the AFC playoffs in this year when you have teams like Denver and New England at the top of the conference, again, that have not been through it, at least not with this coaching staffs and these rosters. It's like I have a 4-8 team right now. There is a universe out there where the Bengals go to the Super Bowl. Again, not predicting that to happen, but that should explain how open not just the AFC North is right now, but how open the entire AFC is at this moment in my mind. I get Denver and New England have proven they're the best teams, but again, they're super young, haven't been through the dog days of late December into January, into the playoffs and postseason with Bo Nix or Drake May as your quarterbacks, with a first-year head coach in New England. Mike Vrabel, good coach, but he's proven he can come up short in the postseason, and we'll see what Sean Payton does with Denver. But, dude, pick a name out of a hat of a team within a couple games of even 500 and above in the AFC, And there's your AFC champion. Because, well, damn it, if Kansas City would have actually taken care of business in Dallas, I would have said, no, Kansas City's going to the Super Bowl again. But I it's starting to get late in the year, KC. You are in serious trouble. But if there's going to be one year where you pull it out of your ass to just make the postseason and get hot, this would be the year. Pray it doesn't happen. But I'm clueless, man. I am absolutely clueless to who's going to win the AFC.
Yeah, you really screwed yourself, and then you have Denver as well. So, I mean,
Yeah.
like again, you talk about playing with your food too much. Like, obviously,
I
the
don't trust
game.
them in the postseason. I don't.
No,
I
no,
certainly don't.
I definitely don't either. Um,
But who
oh,
do you trust?
so
Not
yeah, I
Buffalo.
mean, you look at the AFC East. Every team, I believe, and we got one going tonight, but every team in the AFC East won. You had the Dolphins and Jets also win. The Jets beat the Falcons like by mistake.
Hey, the Jets are not eliminated from playoff contention, just so
And
you know.
and that is what the AFC is all about, because you have teams with the same record as the Jets and they are eliminated. It's like that
Raiders,
just
yeah.
tells you everything about the AFC. So I want to shift to the Rams, dude. Like, look, I don't enjoy saying that any player from the Rams is going to be the MVP. So it gives me much joy to be able to say, oh, I guess I have to back up a little bit, because you cannot you cannot be the reason your team loses a game. Like, I mean, if you're going to be the MVP. Now, I will say Stafford went into this game yesterday with 2 interceptions and left with having 4 interceptions. So he literally doubled in one game, but one was a pick six, and then later he fumbled the ball. And Carolina then was able to just run the ball out. But so again, parity, I was feeling pretty good about our win on Monday Night Football against these Carolina Panthers. And all of a sudden, there's a Bryce Young sighting when he was nowhere to be found.
Revival. It's a revival. Praise be Bryce Young.
And then you have Seattle is still waiting to give up a point to Minnesota. What is happening?
I asked you earlier, who's going to win the AFC? Who the hell's going to win the NFC? I'll tell you this. Who's winning the Super Bowl this year? I'm going to go with the Fuckapinos.
The team that wears the helmets. I don't know. Like, what are we doing?
Beats the Fuckapinos taking on the beats the shits out of me's.
Yeah.
And I enjoy this, obviously, with my team being nowhere near any conversation other than the number 1 overall pick. I love it. We're going to the back half of the season, certainly entering the dog days of December. There's probably 10 teams right now that have a case to say we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. And I can't tell you the last time that was true, because obviously Kansas City for the last decade, and then before that you had New England, and they were always in the conversation that took away 8 or 9 teams that otherwise would have an argument. The Rams, and I've been saying this for weeks, I think the Rams are very vulnerable, and I don't have faith. I have more faith now in Seattle, who, again, idiot comment I made way back when saying Seattle finished last in the division. I was wrong. And now Seattle, I might have more faith than anyone right now to make the Super Bowl out of the NFC, but 2 weeks from now, I'll be changing my tune again.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we can beat Seattle that last game. But man,
yeah, Adam,
Seattle,
you want to make the Super Bowl? You want to go? Like,
just there you go.
Niners, you want to get healthy again?
That would be so deflating.
Why the hell not?
To have our heart and souls of the team in Bosa and Warner, and we make the Super Bowl without him. That would be crazy. But
I think you would
other
take
teams,
it. I think you would still take that one.
But and other teams could get players that are injured that are game wreckers and could give us a chance, honestly. And we are playing well. So let's talk about Shadur Sanders and Myles Garrett. did have one sack. It was in the fourth quarter. It was meaningless at the time. We were still up 2 scores. But I told you in the group chat, I didn't think Shadur played poorly. They still have the training wheels on him. Now, I will say, what's kind of fun about this show is I can really talk about Shadur Sanders. I watched every single play as they played my favorite team. So, like, I was forced to, you know. And
Against your will.
someone was like, "No, you must."
Right, the movie,
I'm
and
like,
that was
okay.
Was it Bird Box? Was that movie like?
So I will say that Shadur did not do things that were like, oh, we'll see, this is what the negative Nancy's are talking about. See, this now, he did run back a little bit, but I can show you other quarterbacks that do that from time to time. Josh Allen does it. Like Matthew Stafford threw 2 picks. One of them was a pick 6 and fumbled the game away. Daniel Jones missed on some throws that could have won the game. All these quarterbacks that are classified as good this year have done some things that are like, what are they doing? And Shadur had a couple of those, but he made good decisions. He, you know, I thought he played pretty well. I do like that Ohio State running back, man. I like him a lot, dude. That Judkins kid. Holy cow. He reminds me of here's what he is. He is what Ezekiel Elliott should have been for like 10 years straight. If this kid can stay with it, stay healthy, I don't know if that's going to happen as far as he's in Cleveland, he's the weapon, and they'll just load the box, which by the way, is why Frank Gore is so impressive with the Niners, because he, for 5 years straight, that's all they had. And he, you know what I mean? So,
Well, you compare him to Ezekiel Elliott. You know who I thought you were going to compare him to out of Ohio State was what Carlos Hyde should have been,
or Sermon,
who ended up
or
with your
Sermon,
Niners.
or Sermon,
That's true as
who
well.
also
Yeah,
ended up
both.
with Niners.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
Sermon had that, what, 400, what, do you know how many yards it was? Sermon?
I think it was like 359, or
It
he
was a
nearly eclipsed
record.
400.
Yeah.
A lot. It was a lot.
It was a lot of yards. And then gets to the Niners, and then nothing happened. And then same thing with Hyde. Hyde had, I think, 1,000-yard season. That was the year that they had those black jerseys. It looked ridiculous. This year they have them, and it's way cooler. But yeah, I like this kid, man. I just think he's got the moxie. He looks really good, and I think if Judy is like a joke, dude. I watched the whole game. Jerry Judy, he ain't it. Like, he was never in Denver. He kind of was like maybe going to be a guy. They realized he wasn't, so they shipped him out. And then he just
You should sign Henry Ruggs instead. Come back.
yeah.
Man really knows how to drive it down the field.
He's just a body. He just doesn't. He's like if you order CD Lamb on Temu and you're like, oh, we got Jerry Judy. He's just not.
What kind of name is that, anyways?
Judy. But yeah, it was fun to see, I will say, for just a fan of football, to see Myles Garrett and Trent Williams. And on his sack, I'll say he got him. He absolutely got him. He got him inside, which no one gets Trent Williams inside. And it was pretty cool, I'll admit, to like, wow, I'm watching this, because he's defensive player of
Imagine
the
if he
year.
was on a good team. Just imagine.
But imagine if he should be. I don't understand what they're really doing. They already said Shadur earned the next start too. He
And
got
you
hurt.
know where he's going.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Titans,
Tennessee.
the Tennessee Titans.
The Cammies and the Shadurs. Battle of who's going to be the first overall pick. Who cares? But Shador's looking like a certified 5th round pick right now, baby. He looking like he will deserve that fifth round selection, where maybe Cam Ward should have been.
So, I again, like, the AFC, what is that? The North, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Yeah.
The AFC North, yeah.
The AFC North, I just think is such a weird mix. Pittsburgh, I don't know. They got Aaron Rodgers back, and they're just, I just don't understand why they played so bad. And you could say that again with every single NFL team. Why did they
Including
play
Buffalo, very much so.
bad? I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Rams looked really bad at times. The Eagles have looked really bad at times. The Bears have looked really bad. Pick a good team. All these teams have.
And the only ones that maybe haven't, the only one I would say maybe hasn't is Denver, period. Because New England lost week 1 to the Raiders. Let's not forget about that. That's a long time ago. They're a different team now. I get it. But it's still part of their record this year. At Denver with a 3-point loss, I believe it was at LA. Either way, it was to the Chargers by 3. And then the other one, of course, that controversy at Indy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Denver looked bad last night against Washington. I guess that's the one right there.
Well, and they eked out the win in overtime, one of the craziest overtime games. And here's the breakdown of that game just from a few hours ago. Was that it was I don't quote me on this, but was it the first time that you had back-to-back touchdowns in overtime? I don't know if I've seen.
No,
have we
it's
seen that a
happened
lot?
in games have ended in ties. Not a lot. We don't see it a lot, but it's happened.
That was wild.
I think it happened earlier this year that led to the tie. Did Dallas Green Bay both score a touchdown in OT?
But I thought it was a field goal.
And a tie. Maybe so.
See,
but
I thought it was a field goal because
it
was a long field goal. It was 4th and whatever, where they could have went for the touchdown to win, but they're like, let's just go for the sure thing and tie.
The tie. That's
which
right.
is what's super annoying. Gotcha. Remember? Yes.
Yeah.
So, but Mariota, the Fighting Mariotas, and they went for 2. They didn't get it. So that game, 27-26. Again, we talked about Denver playing with their food. So Denver played bad enough to lose, but you look up at their record and they don't have like the bad losses to win or to lose barely because of that whole field goal situation, and then lose, and then in Indy, and then lose to the Rams, who yes, they screwed the Chargers yesterday, the Chargers. And the Chargers have screwed the pooch, a couple games, but like they're a
division
good
rival and going to make the playoffs.
Team.
Yeah, so that's a good loss.
I think you might. I know it's weird how we just don't trust them though. We still isn't that crazy? We still
Bo
don't.
Nix is still your quarterback, and of course I'm on record saying I like Bo Nix, but again, for the system, and it was as a rookie, and hey, made the playoffs, cute. But now it's like, well, Denver is your front runner to win the Super Bowl. No, impossible, impossible.
Just wild. The NFL is like I can't remember. I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, so I am officially admitting that I'm thinking through that, and I'm not a prisoner of the moment. Craziest year that I can ever remember. Tell me. Yeah, Deadmau5. Yeah, finally found a way to shut you up.
Pretty good of you.
Yeah,
pretty good on you, Adam.
That's. I mean, we'll see how it shakes out. Stay tuned because I stick with us. We're in this together. We're in the nation of idiots. Holy cow. Reminder to follow us on social media wherever you get your social media. We have all of the Cineverse, as Miles has eloquently put it, as is tradition. New episodes of Sports It Nation come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which means we will see you Wednesday. Thank you for watching this episode of Sports Idiot Nation. Remember, we are on all social media and on YouTube, and the podcast can be found on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Remember, new episodes are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And remember, because you watch Sports Idiot Nation,
You would be the smartest idiot in the whole world.